the Montreal side of things. Eric, how did the Montreal Canadiens pull this series off?
Well, they did it by playing their best game, as Carey Price said it in Game 7. And wow, what an adherence to the system. But really, it comes down to what happened before this game. You face 2 games facing elimination and come through on the other side of it with all the doubts on the Toronto side and everything in the history. The Canadiens found a way to play loose in Game 7, and it was clear right from the start. I don't know about you guys. To me, it didn't feel like for a single second that the Canadiens were going to lose this game by the time it started, and that proved to be the case.
Carey Price was doing, I wouldn't say it's a normal day at the office, because when Ken and I come to the office, we're kind of, ho-hum and check in. Carey Price has a spectacular day at the office, but you seem to expect that out of these big-time Game 7s. What is his ability to just have that calm demeanor throughout it all?
I think you have to be born with it, and you're right. You do come to expect it, especially for me, because I've covered Carey Price since the first day he stepped into the National Hockey League, and I've been watching him do this in the most important games throughout his entire career. He just has that it factor, and his leadership, which I think has been called into question several times throughout his career in Montreal, has never been more apparent than after Game 4, when he said he has full confidence in his team, that he wasn't frustrated that they weren't scoring enough. They clearly got a lift out of that. Phillip Danault said everyone looked in the mirror after that and said they're going to bring their best. And I think we saw Montreal's best over the 3 games, and with each one getting better and better and better. And in Game 7, it culminated in a huge win. And I don't know about you guys, I want Toronto and Montreal every year in the playoffs.
I can do
was
it.
Just an unbelievable series.
I can handle it. I think in Toronto, a lot of fingers are going to be pointed at Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner. You just mentioned a name. How about you point a finger at him? Phil Danault. What did he do in this series?
Well, as writers and people and reporters that cover this game, we love irony. And after 25 games, Phil Danault was sitting without a goal, and he was getting destroyed left, right, and center by fans, by media, by everyone who had a question about it. And he finishes this series without a goal and without a point. And I don't think you could ever come up with another name in history who had as much of an impact on a series without doing that. Outside of Carey Price, one of Montreal's most valuable players, he said that playing against Austin Matthews is one of the hardest jobs he's ever had. And he'd like to think that Austin Matthews feels the same way about him. And they exchanged some words in that handshake line that'll stay between them. But the respect level for Phillip Danault was there. You heard it from Nathan McKinnon, who said on a podcast earlier this year that he's the hardest player to play against in the NHL and deserves Selke consideration. Well, he bought into that defensive assignment in this series, and he is a huge part of the reason that the Canadiens are moving on to win it.